So I sure hope everyone is enjoying their quarantine. Anyways, The Edge of 17 is a movie that sort of flew under the radar when it was released, which is kind of a shame because for what it is, I'd say it's pretty good. A coming-of-age tale about a teenager dealing with anxiety and self-image issues and struggling to overcome them. Our hero is a high school junior named Nadine. In a flashback early in the movie, we see that as a kid, she did not get along with her mother nor her brother, and struggles to make friends at school. She does feel close to her father though, and is able to become best friends with another girl named Krista. Unfortunately, her father dies of what I guess was a heart attack, leaving Krista as the only person keeping her afloat. As a teenager, Nadine is very anxious, insecure, and awkward. She remains at least somewhat content though, as long as she has her friend. Things start to take a turn for the worse, however, when Krista starts dating Nadine's brother, Darian. Nadine, while not supporting the relationship, tries to go along with it at first, but quickly comes to the conclusion that she can't handle it, and decides to end her friendship with Krista. Nadine spends the rest of the film meandering around, acting out, interacting with different people, in an attempt to deal with her newfound loneliness. This movie, as is clear, does not have the most complicated plot in the world. It's kind of reminiscent of a slice of life story you would more commonly see in Japan. We just follow her around, seeing what her life was like as she is trying to find herself and her place in the world. If those types of stories don't grab you, then this movie probably isn't for you. Luckily for me, I quite enjoy those types of movies. The Edge of 17 gave me that relaxed, sorta nostalgic feeling I only get when watching a Studio Ghibli film. Another thing that may turn people off from this movie is that the main character is self-centered. I personally don't view this as a problem because Nadine is very relatable, albeit not always likable. If you were or are a socially awkward, anxious, and/or pessimistic teenager, you may be able to connect to her on some level. If you're an adult, you may even get a chuckle from how melodramatic she can be. Having a main character that is unlikable is usually a bad sign, especially in a movie like this that is extremely focused on its protagonist. In fact, a lot of the other characters disappear for large segments of this movie. Despite her unlikability, I never really started to dislike the movie. I really got sucked into her journey. I really enjoyed the relationship between her and the teacher, and between her and the filmmaking boy, and Nadine being so unlikable but always relatable is what made her growth at the end so satisfying. Similar to Taxi Driver or Catcher in the Rye, this main character is the cause of most of her problems. But since this is a coming-of-age movie, she eventually comes to this realization before it's too late. Unlike in Taxi Driver, where Travis is still a deeply troubled individual by the end of it. The main takeaway from Edge of 17 is that we are often the driver of our own self-destruction, and how we respond to or handle bad situations in our lives determines how happy we will be. On to the acting. This movie has an all-around pretty good cast. I can't elaborate on it further than that. Everyone is good. Hailee Steinfeld did a great job, and Woody Harrelson, oh my god, he was my absolute favorite part of the movie. He's such an asshole of a teacher, but a likable asshole. He kinda reminds me of Kakashi. Well, Kakashi isn't really an asshole, but he's such a chill, witty guy, and you could see yourself hanging out with him even if you are one of his students. The banter between Harrelson and Steinfeld was constantly hilarious. The dry, awkward humor throughout the film was also really funny. If I had one problem with this movie, it would be how Krista and Nadine's friendship fell apart. Considering how long these two have known each other and how presumably close their friendship was, it's kind of hard to believe things would fall apart so quickly. I get that Nadine was being unreasonable, but still, I would hope Krista would have at least tried to patch things up. Like I said before, Krista disappears for much of the movie after they split. Then again, if she did not abandon her, we might not have had a movie at all, so maybe it's a necessary evil. Overall, The Edge of 17 is a good movie. It does a pretty good job of capturing an age where we all make mistakes, are still learning new things about ourselves, and can be overly dramatic. It reminds me of Lady Bird, which was also a good movie. It's strange that that movie got so much praise while 17 flew under the radar. So anyway, what do you guys think? Is The Edge of 17 underrated? Or did it get the right amount of attention it deserved? Did you hate the movie? Love it?